Thanks for joining me today for another episode of the Healthy AF podcast. With me is Avi Rubin Watkins. Avi,
Thank you.
thanks for joining me.
Happy to be here.
Avi is just a fitness enthusiast. Caught my eye on Instagram because she's a very solid, athletic, 60-year-old woman who just stands out especially in her health and level of fitness. And I had to have her on to ask her what she does to stay so fit at 60 years old, what she's been doing so that we can all, learn from her wisdom and her experience. So Avi, I really appreciate you agreeing to join me. I know you're not a influencer necessarily. You're not a trainer. You're not selling anything on Instagram. It was kind of out of the blue. And you're just someone who appears to be just passionate about your fitness.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
Right. Well, so I'm going to picked up from your Instagram. So I'm not sharing anything you don't share or you didn't tell me, but you're just people an idea of your kind of size is you're 5'4". You weigh what 118, 120 ish
Yep.
most of the time.
Yep.
And as I said, if you guys check out her Instagram, she's solid. There's nothing wasted on her. She's very athletically built, and just turned 60 in the last year.
60 just in August, actually. August, I'm coming up on 61.
Wow. So impressive. You guys check out her. I'll leave her Instagram handle in the show notes and we'll mention it before we leave, but you've got to check her out. Because you're just an example of what we can do. And I think the paradigm has to change for people who are over 50, 60, 70 about what that can look like for us and what that means for our health, not just appearance, but in just terms of our health, what we're able to do, how functional and active and we can be as we get older. But we haven't had a whole lot of great examples of that, maybe growing up. I don't know, were your parents in the same kind of shape you were in at 60 years old?
No, they were not, but they were outdoors people. They were, they moved a lot. Let's just say that. They weren't a sedentary people, but no, they were not. There wasn't a lot of that.
There wasn't.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, there still isn't. I mean, there's a small percentile of those who are.
True.
So
seems like it's getting worse. Actually, it seems like the overall fitness it's actually getting worse.
Yeah, kind of. It's definitely changed.
Yeah, it's changed. I mean, your level of fitness is certainly would be an inspiration to anyone in their 30s, let alone their 60s. And so,
no, thank you for that. I mean, I enjoy it. It's something I enjoy doing, and it's a passion of mine, something that I developed as a lifestyle for myself. So I don't think of it like that, but I appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, when did you start getting serious about working out?
I probably got serious when I was in my early 20s, and I was always an athlete. I played tennis in high school. I've always done some sort of gymnastics. I've played golf, tennis over the years. I mean, that I've always been into athletics. And so, but I did start getting into the fitness world. I worked at a health spa when I was in my 20s. I worked there for about 5 or 6 years, worked my way. I managed the entire club at that time. It was one of the first 24-hour fitness clubs. It was located in Downey. So it was like a big deal that it was open 24 hours and, all of that. So
yeah,
I just got being around it. That was what I enjoyed doing. That was what I wanted to do. And I just stayed with it. And then I realized, I loved the way I felt. I loved the way I looked. All of it kind of developed gradually on its own from just being interested and learning on my own.
Gotcha. About fitness. And so what did that look like? I mean, so when you started, we're talking about 80s, right?
It was in the 80s. Yeah. Just knowing that being on doing exercise, showing other people how to exercise, the benefits that I would get in my 20s, it wasn't as, that it was a big deal in your 20s, it's just, it's something you were physically fit and you hung around people that were physically fit. The nutrition and all the added little things that added up over time, they came later as you realize, okay, I am getting older, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a good thing because it forces you to learn more. So it forced me to learn more about what foods to eat, what foods digested better for me as time went on, calorie dense foods, what filled me up more, how often I should eat. And it also forced me back then in the 80s and 90s, even sometimes still today, we were told to, especially women, do cardio. You needed to do an hour's worth of cardio every day, or something like that. And not until I was 40 ish did I realize I quit cardio entirely at that time. And I've only added walking 3 times a week for 30 minutes just to get outside and move because I'm cognizant now of my energy expenditure instead of doing long doses of cardio, which don't do me any good. For me, I'm not telling anybody, like I said, I'm not a professional. I'm only a professional in the fact that I've done it, been there, done that. And I've experienced a lot of different things. And I've never, from 40 to now, 40 was much easier. Not easier, actually harder than it is now because I've dialed it all in. I'm in the sweet spot. That's what I call it. I'm in the sweet spot. And I've dialed most of it in. I mean, and so I guess the hard part about that uh, is there are little changes, a lot of little things, and not one just big thing to work with. So you've got to constantly tweak the sweet spot.
Right. No, I understand that. You're fine tuning at this point.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so the big change, it sounds like you were doing a lot of cardio then, you're doing a lot more strength training now. Is that what I'm
a lot
hearing?
more strength training, a lot more weight training, heavier weights, a lot heavier weights, and I'm eating a lot more food than I ever have. And the food is a lot more refined, clean, not refined in the sense of in a bad way. It's clean food,
Not
clean,
processed, whole food.
not processed. It's whole foods.
Great. Well, we're going to get into that. So let's talk about, I'm sure it sounds like you're someone who tracks your protein intake, carb intake, all that pretty well. So what does your protein intake daily look like?
So daily, I'm taking in it's 145 grams of protein. Yeah, and that's the highest amount of protein that I've ever had as an intake. Being that I'm 120, it's actually over the 1 pound per gram, which is what they say. And I feel good.
That's great.
Feel
I mean,
good with
obviously
it.
not getting you with that kind of intake. I would think you're not really hungry between meals.
Definitely not. No, I don't find myself hungry at all. Actually, hungry when it's time to eat, and but not. I'm not. I feel completely satiated with food when I'm finished. Throughout the day.
And you obviously it's a lot more than probably you were eating when you were in your 40s as far as protein goes.
Definitely a lot more quality food now, but definitely, then I was trying to not eat as much, and the body aesthetics were different. The body composition was different. There was not a lot of lean muscle mass, and that's key to everything nowadays. I mean, for me, that's the key to everything is to really sustain as much muscle as I can.
Right. So that's your goal. That's one of your primary goals is to have as much muscle as you can on your
And
frame.
it is a primary goal as well as staying strong.
Well, I imagine it's a lot more protein than you were eating even, at that time, 40 years, 20 years ago when you're in your 40s. Uh, so, I mean, that's significant. You're, like you said, over the 1 gram per pound of body weight. A lot of women say, "Oh, I can't imagine eating that much. How do you digest that much protein? How
And
do you digest that much food?" And
yeah,
you must
that's
have
a good
adapted
point
over
because
time, or
it is something that it's not challenging now because I figured it out, but it's also foods. A lot of the foods that you don't think of. I do use a vegan protein powder that's in a protein shake, so that helps. But a lot of the, like Greek yogurt has a lot of protein. Obviously, you're eating your chickens and eggs. Eggs are a whole food. I mean, eggs are easy. for protein. So it's mostly things like that that I get the protein from.
Gotcha. So how many meals does it take you to get to 145 grams of
I'm
protein?
doing 4 meals a day. I found that that was again a sweet spot. I was doing 6 small meals, and I found that, and I'm sure you're going to get into it, but I found for myself that it would spike my insulin a lot. So I was getting a higher A1C number, and so all I did was cut down. And I actually decided to do that on my own. Don't ask me why or how, or because I'm not an expert at any of that. But I did, and I took down 2 meals and did 4 meals, and everything went back to normal.
Wow. So you're getting high blood sugar, high A1C from 6 meals a day, even though it was healthy food or the
Yeah,
same type of
exactly.
food.
Yeah, it was too much,
Too often,
too
hit the
often,
blood sugar too often.
too often.
How long ago was that you had that A1C problem?
Boy, that was a while ago. Could be almost 10 years ago.
So at 50-ish,
Probably. Yeah,
you
right
started
around there.
noticing it. Okay. So and was that a new change? You'd been doing 6 meals for a while?
I've been doing 6 meals for a while. Yeah. So it was definitely a new change at right around 50, late 40s,
Hmm.
50. Yeah, it was a new change. Definitely.
So something that could have been related to, hey, your body's changing, age is having a
Correct.
certain effect, you had to modify.
Correct. Absolutely. I mean, that's the name of the game. It's a constant change. A lifestyle of fitness, exercise, being healthy, strong, all of that. There are constantly things are changing. Period. Your body changes constantly. Everything is changing. So you know, you always have to change and to adapt. And your body, you have to do it with your body too. So the more body conscious you can be, the more understanding of what your body is talking to you about or telling you or any of that, the better and easier it becomes to know what you need to do.
Tuned into what your body's telling you. Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's fantastic. I mean, you figured that out.
I figured I did
That's the,
for me. I mean, because, I'm just doing me.
right.
You
But I
know?
mean, the traditional fitness wisdom, if you want to call it, their message has been several, 5, 6 small meals a day.
Yeah.
And we tell this to people whether they want to lose weight, gain weight, but you saw a difference affecting your blood sugar. So a blood marker before you start, gaining weight,
Yeah.
it's obviously that's a marker of health, of your health, of longevity. Your
Yeah.
blood sugar would be. So it's something you made an adjustment to really to help you be healthier as you got older,
Right.
and it would because the 6 meals was just taking you in the wrong direction. So
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And 4 meals and being very active, I mean, that's pretty consistent with most athletes and their eating regimen. I would say 4 meals is to keep up with a very active person, lean person, without eating too much, but eating enough to maintain muscle mass and recovery from
Right.
workouts.
Right.
Um, so you said mostly whole food sources of like. So what are your starches? So you're taking in some carbs, I would
So
imagine.
the carbs I am taking in, more carbs than I've ever had. I eat what I love, oatmeal. I love oatmeal. I eat oatmeal. I eat brown rice, lot vegetables. I'm cut. It's kind of challenging to be me and having to choose to eat whole foods because I have a palate of a 5-year-old. So I don't like a lot of things, and I don't like a lot of vegetables, and I don't like a lot of the things that a lot of people have a lot of choices about. So I have to pick and choose because a lot of things I really don't like. Some things now don't agree with me. They don't digest properly. And so I try to make sure I've got green leafy vegetables. So that's spinach. The things that I don't like, I put in my shake and I drink them. So that helps. That would be spinach. Um, I do, let's see, brown rice. I do corn tortillas because I make tacos. I love tacos. So I make tacos with corn tortillas. So those are kind of where the carbs come from is, fruits. I do blueberries every day. I do apple. I mean, I eat a lot of apple, strawberries, all of that, though, is in that I have a shake that's probably like this. It's the whole blender. thing, the whole blender glass, and that's a shake full of completely, you know, Greek yogurt, apples, strawberries, banana. Uh, it's got spinach in it, and it has the protein powder in it, and then water and ice, and it's like a meal. I count that as one meal, and that's after working out.
That's your post-workout recovery.
Yeah, so those are some of the food. They're you know carbs, but they're not super
Right.
starchy.
Right. But they help you recover from your workout and get some glycogen back in.
Right. You need them. You need them for the strength as well.
Right. So you, I would imagine you have pretty much the same carb intake pretty much on a regular basis, like day in, day out. It's not a random assortment. Oh, I feel like eating this. I feel like eating that.
I don't know. I have a complete, I use macros. So I stay within a certain, it's 230 grams of carbs per day. And it can be whatever carbs I want, but I am aware that, one carb is not the same as another carb and how it digests in your body. So the choices that you make with what kind of carbs you eat, even though you're on macros, and you have, if it fits in your macros, it's important if you really are trying to dial it in, if you will, or be in the sweet spot, as I call it, to choose foods that process better in your body. And that's different for everybody. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm only speaking for me. So everybody's different in how it, and when it's something that's not agreeing with you or it's not serving the purpose for you, or you feel a little, like I call it, loose in the cage, where you're just loose in the cage. You feel a little bit where you're walking around, you're a little bit more jiggly than you'd like to be. And that has to do with food. Okay. That's food.
Absolutely. What foods did you find? Like, I would assume that was as you got more in your sweet spot, but also as you got older. What foods did you find didn't agree with you digestion wise?
Good. That's a really good question. I love Brussels sprouts. They don't work. They don't digest very well. Broccoli doesn't digest very well. Now it does for like a week or so, and then it starts to not digest well. So broccoli, Brussels sprouts, a lot of the green leafies are not digesting well for me. That's mostly what I've found. So when it comes to the vegetable choices, a lot of the green leafies are difficult for me to, they cause bloating or discomfort, the usual that we all know, at least over 40, what it does to some people. So I have to find different avenues, and spinach is agreeable. I can eat like green beans, peas, mushrooms. As far as green leafies, it's hard. I pretty much just do a ton of spinach to get that in as a regular. Because I don't really like a lot of stuff. I'll eat a salad, on occasion here or there to get some. But really, if you think about it, lettuce is not that green leafy. People call lettuce green leaf. It's really not. So I do what works for me, and so some of those I have to cut out.
So the broccoli, even cooked broccoli, was bothering you.
Cooked broccoli, even cauliflower, sometimes cooked or raw, both.
Raw would be terrible. I can't imagine. I don't know why people eat raw cauliflower broccoli.
I mean, zucchini, and that would be okay. I'm not crazy about it, but I could do that.
That's more of a fruit anyway. It's more like a starchy, less starchy fruit.
That's true.
But there's all these lectins and so forth that are in the broccoli, or different anti-nutrients that are in broccoli and Brussels sprouts and the leafy greens that a lot of people are finding. These don't agree with my digestion. These don't, and maybe I could eat them when I was in my 20s and didn't notice. Right. Get past 40, and it's like my stomach exploded every time I eat a salad or eat a bunch of these vegetables.
Right.
And so it's got to tell us something that maybe those aren't the best things for us to be digesting.
Yeah. It's all individual, in my opinion. I mean, over the years of being around the fitness industry, if you will, and knowing a lot of people in that industry and dealing, I was around it a lot. There were a lot of my friends and things like that. A lot of what people have described, that you needed to do. You know, you need to do this. You need to do the 6 meals every couple hours you want to eat or whatever. That's a generality that's so on the peripheral of an individual. And I I so stand by the fact that if it doesn't work for you, whatever it is, it's not going to work. Period. It has to be something that works for you. It has to be something that fits your lifestyle. It has to be something that's digestible for you. It has to be 6 meals. If that works for you, bomb. That's awesome. It should be good. If it doesn't, then try something else. So it's all an individual thing. It really is. There's not one person that fits in that mold of how we should be doing things. That's one thing that's changed a lot though, because there are so many different people out there discussing how you should be doing things in your fitness world and what exercises you should be doing and shouldn't be doing and all of that. That's good for someone who's going to physical therapy or, those kinds of things. But in a general, you got to do what you love doing. You do the exercises that you enjoy the most and get the benefit out of that you want. If you do that, when you wake up in the morning, it's not such a bad idea that you got to go exercise or train or whatever, because you're doing well, I like that one. That's right. I remember I'm doing what I like. You're not like, oh my God, like I don't particularly like Bulgarian split squats. Well, I guess what? I don't do those. I do something else.
Good for you.
So I do what I love doing that works for me, and everybody can choose.
Right. So you found something sustainable, basically, that you enjoy.
Sustainability is it. Yeah.
Awesome.
You've got to be able to sustain it all.
Well, let's talk about your workout. So obviously you're lifting a lot of weights. How often are you lifting?
I'm lifting 5 days a week. There's a upper lower split of Monday, Tuesday. I'm off Wednesday, and then the same thing. And then it goes lower upper split, and then I'm off. And then on a Saturday I work out, and then Sunday I'm off. So I have 3 lower days, 2 upper days.
Oh, wow. Awesome. That's great.
Yeah. My training, I hired one thing that I did that was really smart. If you really are, this is something you're all in with, or you have to be all in, and I hired a trainer. I hired Brett Contreras as my trainer.
Oh, wow.
He's the glute guy.
Right.
And
He's the guy.
it doesn't matter what age you are, you can still do the glute guys training program. Big shout out there. And I've been doing that, and I love the program. It's challenging. I mean, there are times where, yeah, I'm uncomfortable, but I'm pushing myself and challenging myself on a regular basis. And I use progressive overload when I train. So it's 5 days a week. I got more into it. Maybe it's not, but I do a lot of glute training, legs, glutes. I do bench press. I mean, I do military presses. I do chin ups.
I saw your chin ups. I saw your chin up post. You were holding 20 pounds, right? You had 20 pounds on a belt.
Today I did 30 pounds.
30.
It was 30 pounds for one. My goal is 45. So I'll get there. That I'm not, you just takes work, but I'll get there. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, I mean, I couldn't even do one chin up when I started. And I can do body weight chin ups. I could probably do about just 12. I can do 12 body weight pull ups.
That's impressive.
I did a pull up, 30-pound pull up this morning, one with 30 pounds extra on my weight. So anyway, that's how I train. I use his, and I also hired a nutritionist to help me put up the numbers that I need to do what I want to do. If you want to lose weight, if you want to maintain weight, or you want to gain weight, or you want to gain muscle, whatever the case may be, they're trained in doing that. And you have weekly conversations and, figure out, it can be longer. Like I didn't need weekly because this is working. So, and I follow the numbers and I just do the work. I just follow the numbers and do the work. I mean, it's just like anything else that, I was like explaining to a friend of mine, what do how do you get into it? Why is it, I just don't even have, I said, everyone in their lifetime has something that they went all in for. And they went all in. It doesn't matter if you're buying a house, if you're raising your kids, if you're whatever that all in looks like to you, you went all in. And if you go all in, it's a no-brainer. It'll happen. It'll work, it'll happen.
Yeah, you have to be committed. You have to be committed to it.
Yeah. That's all it takes.
So how is that? How is your work? So we talked about your workout change. You're lifting more weights, obviously. Diet's changed over the years. What else have you found that's kind of you had to adjust? Uh, I mean, how's your sleep now? I mean, obviously you sleep.
The sleep is always I was listening to one of your podcasts about sleep. Yeah, sleep has definitely changed. Um, as you get older, a lot of things change in your life externally, whether it's events or lifestyle things or people in your life or, all of that. So that weighs on you when it comes to sleep. Sleep is super important. And you know that. That could even cause you to not sleep
Right.
because you need to. So yeah, I do have trouble sometimes. I do uh, struggle with that. And I'm still working on that. I think it's something that it's going to be a constant work in progress. I don't know that you can ever, I haven't run across anyone that's dialed that in. You do what you can do. You have to make sure that at least 2 or 3 nights a week you get the sleep that you need, at least. So good question. And I'm working on that one.
I'm with you.
You know,
I'm
yeah,
with you.
yeah. And I think if there was one answer to that, you know, we'd all be better off with sleep. Because and I don't think there's one person I've talked to who says, I just sleep through the night. No problem. Not at my age, anyway.
Right. No, I haven't met too many over the age of 50 that say, "Oh, it's no problem. I got it down."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
It's
is
not.
an issue. What else has changed? Look, your just natural body, uh, your natural body changes that you have to work around. Let's say, I've been doing this for, I think, 35 years. I've been lifting weight and training and working out and using my body to its full. And, it doesn't come without I had one injury over the 60-year period that I've been alive. I've had one injury. So I am grateful for that. But it is humbling and it does teach you how I'm happy that it happened and I'm happy and it wasn't major and there's nothing wrong and I'm good. I just know that I have to work around those injuries and I don't just give up and say, "Oh man, I'm worried about getting injured." Because it's what I've been doing that's only given me one injury over this whole time of doing this exercise and playing tennis and playing golf. And I don't I'm not afraid to go and lift up, all my 1 gallon bottles of water that I get at Costco and carry it into the house. I don't worry about bending over or kneeling down and picking up my dog or tying my shoe or I don't have any thoughts that go through my head about can or can't I do anything. It's always I don't even think about it. I just do it.
So you must be okay. So you're doing a lot of compound movements. It sounds like with the
Yeah.
presses, you're doing hip thrusts, uh, pull ups, deadlifting. You deadlift.
I'm deadlifting.
What's your deadlift?
My deadlift is about right now. I've done 199 one. I've done 99 for one. I'm at about 165. I can do one now. You know, I work my way back up again to get there. I'm smart. I'm smart about it. I'm not, not going to do anything crazy. And I just try to stay strong. I am not afraid of it. I don't say, "Oh, I'm going to get hurt." I mean, your mind, if you think those kinds of thoughts, eventually that's going to, I believe in that anyway, you know, so I don't have thoughts like that. So yeah, they are compound movements. I do a lot of so it's yeah, hip thrusts, the main five. I took out squats, back squats, but I do box squats because the back squats I don't particularly care for them and they're a lot more uh taxing when you go up in weight, but I do box squats so I can do weight with that instead of regular so bench press, deadlifting, hip thrusts, chin ups, and military presses. And then of course I do arm exercise, but I'm not I go up there serious because in my workout routines, you'd think I'd be up there for, I'm not up there for 2 hours or 3 hours. It's an hour and I'm done. And there are five exercises, maybe six exercises, but I go all in on those exercises, each one. I give it everything I have
It's awesome. For an hour. Give
for
everything
now.
in for an hour.
Yeah, I'm
And
not spending all my time in the gym.
right. And did I see you work out at home some? I've seen some of your stuff looks like you're at home.
Everything I do is now at home. I would love to be able to. I just can't. After working in gyms my whole life, it's really hard to go into a gym and work out. If I had my own, I've been dying to like just, you know, take my garage and turn it into a gym like everybody does. If I could do that, I would. But I do. I do it at home. I have a hip thruster upstairs. I have everything that I need that I just pull in and pull out. And the machines are helpful at this time because they've made them so much better than they used to be. So, a lot of the glute exercises that they have, I'm in love with that, but I don't have room. So I do the hip thruster and I do what I have here. But yeah, no, it's a home gym. But look, should I mention the pandemic? I mean, we all had to, right? Everybody, I didn't have to adjust. I had my home gym, thank God. But, you can do it at home. It doesn't matter. You can do it anywhere.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with you. After a career in the fitness industry, I really don't want to walk in a gym unless I absolutely have to.
Exactly.
And I work out at home as well. I did this right before in 2019. Basically, I got a rack at home. I'd had a few things, or a rack, some bands,
Yeah,
and I love it because it's
I love it
convenient.
too.
Do it on my schedule. I'm not waiting on anybody else.
Right.
I recommend it to everybody who can, if they have any space at all.
Yeah, it
Even if
just
it's,
that helps you focus a little bit better. You go up there, you disappear a little bit. You're interrupted, and because then if you want to go into a gym and talk to people, or whatever it is you want to do, or go with a friend or whatever. Oh my God, it makes it so much more fun. I went with my niece. I was up north. I went with my niece to her gym. She's gotten into fitness. She's 19. She's working at the gym, just like I was at her age. And we worked out together. It was insane. It was so much fun. And we're doing the same thing, switching off machines, and it was just really, really fun to be able to do that. So when I do go into the gym, I have such a good time because I can just enjoy myself. But when I'm at home and I'm doing it, I'm focused. You know, I'm, I'm like in the zone of just doing what I'm doing and getting it done and pushing myself forward.
do you find that helps you be more consistent with it? Just having it right there, we just walk right upstairs and get it done.
Um, I guess you would say yes, but I'm one of those kind of people. Like, if I had to go out, I would go out. But yes, I mean, it's much easier to get up and go in there than to have to get in your car and definitely. That's
Well, it
just
sounds like consistency is something you've put in place to make this work. I mean, like you said, there's no one exercise, there's no one way of doing something. It's kind of figuring out what you need, but it sounds like what has worked for you over the last, say, 10 plus years or so is with the strength training and the diet is consistency. Is that you just keep doing it.
just keep doing it. Right. And it's just a lot of little things that add up to one result. And you constantly have to kind of keep adjusting those little things because each time there's going to be change. You can guarantee that. Something, it's almost like, if Tiger Woods, I use Tiger Woods as an example because to me, he's one of the greatest golfers of all time. And I'm sure when he started out making changes and everything, he would see big results. But now he's a greatest golfer of all time, in my opinion. The changes that he's making, he's still making them, but you're not going to notice that much. But he notices, and that's where I'm at now. So that's the challenge: is finding new ways to make changes, to have things change and get better. And that's been my philosophy my whole life. It's just try to be better, not just physically, but emotionally, socially, as a human being.
Yeah, you're optimizing at this point. You're
Yeah.
optimizing. You're making the fine tuning that, like you said, somebody else wouldn't notice or somebody else wouldn't think was a big deal.
Right.
But to you, it makes it adds the incremental improvement that you're looking for. Uh, so it makes your experience better, makes your results better.
Absolutely.
But
And I'm not working as hard as I used to.
you
I'm
mean
not working
when you're
nearly as
working
hard
out,
as
you're
I
not
used.
working.
I'm
Wow.
not nearly as hard as I used to. The food is different, and the food makes the difference because the food is everything. How you eat, what you eat, choices you make, and how you know. And granted, I'm a big believer in an 80% clean and 20%. I still have a good time. Look, I don't do alcohol, but that's a choice. Just because I prefer regular foods and I don't really, if I want to drink, like when I turned 60, I had a drink. I had a drink when I turned 60, or, usually on my birthday when I become another, I'll have a drink. But I'm saying it's just a choice of what you want to eat. And I have fun. I love to eat. Like I said, I like French fries. I go and have a good time when I want to. And that's because of all the consistency that I've done and where I am. I have that leisure and it's nice. And it can happen at any particular time. And there's no time limit on where you want to be in your life and how well you want to feel. Yeah. How well do you want to feel? There's no beginning, you just start whenever you want to, feeling better. And it can go on forever. There's no end. It doesn't stop.
Yeah, your consistency is what's allowed you to have that freedom to indulge
Yeah.
when you feel like it. But overall, you're not going to go over this because it's not congruent with the way you want to live or
Yeah.
how
And
you want to
also,
be.
look, if I do go over the edge, let's say I saw some Brussels sprouts at the restaurant and I really felt like eating them because I actually love them and I went for it. Okay, I'm going to pay that price, right? So I'll remember somehow that that's not going to work. You can't do that every time. You can do it, but you're going to pay a price for that.
Your body tells you, like,
Your body's going to tell you that, and you know that. So that's okay. It's just about how well do you want to feel.
100% agree with you 100%. Yeah, when you're paying attention and when that's your priority is your health and how you feel and that you want to keep feeling that way throughout your life, then you're paying attention to what your body tells you and you're not going, even when you do indulge, it's something that, like, one, it's a rare thing, and two, you're not going to fall into some downward spiral with it because it makes you feel like garbage.
Yeah, you just
So
know what you're going to feel like. So
yeah, and it's not congruent, but it's not congruent with your goals. It's not doesn't line up with where you want to be
yeah,
with
and
where the
I think that's kind of. No, I think most people would agree with that, no matter what you're doing. I mean, everything lines up with what your beliefs are and how you feel about yourself and what works for you and where you're comfortable at in your own life. And that doesn't have to include fitness. Just as long as you're good with you.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Javi, thank you so much for sharing. I know this is not like, again, you're not marketing something. You're not trying to put yourself out there for any reason. I reached out to you because I just saw you as an incredible example of where we need to be. And I think more people need to have eyes on people like you for inspiration to see what's possible, what they can do, and how you did it. So I appreciate you sharing
I
everything
hope
that you did.
I really am grateful. I appreciate it, Zane, very much. I really do. And if I can help somebody, that's what I'm all about. I mean, that makes me really happy.
Awesome. Well, guys, check out her Instagram. It's at AVIRW. That's Avi Rubin Watkins, your initial there, but AVIRW on Instagram. You'll be impressed. You'll be inspired. And hopefully, you understand that she has worked her way toward this, but at the same time, know what's possible because again, you're doing pull ups, hanging 30 pounds. I can find, you know, 25-year-old men who would struggle with that workout. It's not something you did the first day you went to work out. It's something you built into, and I think it's just a sign of your consistency over time that you've created this for yourself through your own choices. And so
Yeah.
I think that's amazing. And you figured out what works for you. Uh, Listen to your body, making changes, continue fine tuning. And I think and found something that you can be consistent and sustainable for your life.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's been great.